Welcome to my daily review. Today is Thursday, December 5, 2024. We're heading towards the end of the year with a nice strong uptrend. You're looking at the Nasdaq, which was down 35 points today, or 0.18%, and closed at 19,700 exactly. This is a daily chart of the Nasdaq, by the way. You can see the volume was 13% above the 50-day average volume. A little bit of profit taking, a little bit of caution ahead of the jobs number tomorrow. I don't think it's going to change the mind of the Fed. They're going to lower rates here at their next meeting and then maybe pause or whatever. We'll just take it one meeting at a time. Just wanted to point out that the Nasdaq did make a new high today before reversing lower of 19,790, then reverse lower, which is good. Now, I think it's 5.5% above its 50 and 3% above this magenta 21 EMA. You can take a look at the 5-minute chart on the Nasdaq where it started up, look like it was going to rally off to the races again. We're getting a little complacent where we just expect rallies every day. Finally sold off into the close. Tomorrow's job number, like I said, I don't think it's going to mean a hill of beans. I think the trend continues into the year end, which is what, I don't know, 3.5 more weeks left. It all looks good here for me here on the Nasdaq. So I'm going to scoot on over to the S&P 500 index, which also made another new high today of 6,094, reverse lower and closed at 6,075. So the index is 3.6% above its 50, 1.7% above its 21, just trending higher. These dips are to be bought. They have been bought, I should say. The Dow Jones Industrial Average traded over 45,000 earlier in the week, pulled back today just a little bit, 0.55%, 248 points, closed at 44,765. You can see it's 3.7% above the 50 and 1.5% above the 21. That did tick above the 45,000 level today and then pulled back once again. So it's a little bit of resistance there, huh? 45 here. This is a 5-minute chart. There's your 45, your 45, your 45, and then okay. So it'll tick above there once again. Anyway, the Russell 2000 index, this one was lagging today, down 1.25%. Now it's sliced below the 5. I'm not going to change. I think it's right about the 10 there. But yeah, it's fine. It's just caution ahead of the data. 4.5% above this rising 50. So yeah, this one is fine. The IWM is 0.9% above this rising 21. All right, I'm going to get to the stocks because I like to pick stocks. I like to trade stocks. I like to own stocks. This is Apple making new highs. You can't get anything more bullish than the largest stock in the world making new highs. So that one looks fantastic. Microsoft, broke out of that downtrend line earlier in the week. Was it yesterday or the day before? Yeah, earlier this week. I'll call it, I don't know, Monday or Tuesday. And then now is ramping higher, but still consolidating within the base. So I think you could still get it there at 441.85. That's an actionable buy point. I didn't put this one on my ready list, but this one's definitely actionable right there. Meta, I did put this one on, and I think it's still actionable. It pulled back a little bit today. I like it there at the standard buy point right there at 603. Let it come in there. Hopefully it will. I mean, this market's so strong, it probably won't. The 5 EMA today was 601.39, so it doesn't have much to do to just come back to the 5 and bounce. And that's what I'm looking for with that stock. Amazon making a new high today, just trending higher. I mean, what can you say? The stock is trending higher and looks good. If you own it, congrats. Should be good for Christmas. Everybody's shopping on Amazon for Christmas. Google is still in a slump here, the kind of the laggard of all the Mag 7 stocks. Tesla is kind of the leader of them. Made a new high today up to 375, then pulled back. I think it's got to take out this 414 here, back from 2021, right before the bear market. It hit 414.50. Definitely has that in its sights. I would be surprised if it didn't take that number out right there. So definitely has momentum to the upside. Broke out of that base, trending higher. Tesla looks fantastic. NVIDIA, uh, had somebody's tell me that NVIDIA is a leader here. You can hold NVIDIA. I don't care. I like, A-Lab because NVIDIA is at 3.5 billion. For it to double, it's got to go to 7 billion. And I could hold A-Lab the same period of time. And this is a 18 billion. So all it has to do is go to 36 billion market cap to double. I think this one doubles before um, NVIDIA. And I told you to watch out for these, bull wedges here. It wedges back, to a moving average, and then it blasts higher. That's what it's been doing now. It blasted higher on Tuesday, made a new high on Wednesday. It had that conference there in Scottsdale. They didn't have any news or anything, so it reversed and sold off lower, pulled back today. I'd like to see it come back here tomorrow to the 5, which was a 111.52 today, but it's going up, $2 a day. We'll see if it can do that. Let's take a look at a 10-minute chart here. Yeah. So it went higher yesterday, and then there was no news at that conference, and it sold off into the close. And today just had a little nothing burger day today, just a flat day. But I would like to see it pull back to the 5 and bounce again. That's its pattern, right? Just little sell-offs and then push higher. So that's what I'm looking for with A-Lab. I'm not going to go through all the semiconductor names. I'm going to go through our earnings list. We had some nice earnings reports this morning, and there was some good responses. We don't like bears on Wall Street. I don't like bears, but Build-A-Bear is okay, especially when it's going up 22%. That bear can hang around. Once again, it had this, going into earnings. Earnings are a crapshoot. They're a risk, but it had this pinching action, right, which we like to see, kind of a flag pattern after a nice run, right? Had this nice run, then started flagging, then popped higher 22%. But you don't know going into earnings which way, the cookie's going to crumble, or the ball's going to bounce, whatever you want to say. So you got to practice risk management. And I didn't buy Build-A-Bear before earnings, but those who did are up 22% today. So congrats. Cigna, I guess nobody's getting married anymore, or if they are, they're not buying expensive jewelry. This one's in timeout here. Had a nice setup, cup with handle, but then broke down 12% today following its earnings reports. Synopsys, this is a computer design, software design for semiconductors. It was down 12% today. That is not good. Sorry to see that. Sentinel-1, the cybersecurity name, did not have a good report, did not have good guidance, and just crapped out today, 13%. Sorry about that, shareholders. AEO, American Eagle Outfitters. Man, I go to this store in the mall there, and they're really busy, but yeah, not a good report, down 14% with volume. So PVH, another retail name, pull back to its just a 21 today, but undercut the 200. So it's got work to do. Only down 3.5%. Not too bad for Philip Van Heusen, or PVH corporation there. What else we have here? Oh, Dollar General, and Dollar General, man. This is the Jim Morrison trade. It's been down so long that it's got to go up at some point, right? But not today. It was just flat on the day. Flat as a pancake. Couldn't get more flat than that. Up a dime. So this one has a lot of work to do. And then Kroger's, the grocery store chain, didn't have a great report, but still it was up. Okay, let's take a look at this on a 5-minute chart. It was up 1.34% after pulling back to its 21. Wow, look at that. What is that about? 45 minutes into the session, an hour into the session. Yeah, an hour into the session, man, this thing sold off pretty hard. Down to 58.72. Finally, buyers came in and then closed off 60.71 was the close. So Kroger's, and we see these wild moves on earnings report, and that's definitely a bullish engulfing candle. So yeah, maybe it'll move higher going forward. Anyway, some other stocks that I got to get to, just some groups that were strong today. There was a lot of selling beneath the surface, a lot of profit taking. There was a lot of stocks that were up, but there was some that were down. Overall, just kind of just a profit taking day and some caution. Just pointing out some strength here with the banks, the financials. Deutsche Bank was up, made a new high. Still setting up in a base here, though. If you're interested in financials, this is not one that's, gone crazy extended. It's still set up in a base. So Deutsche Bank looks pretty good there at 1793. What are the ones? Barclays. Another one of these bigger banks, 53 billion market cap, just making new highs, showing strength that already broke out of its space and surfing its moving average. Barclays looks good. And then, of course, Goldman Sachs. Can't mention finance without the Goldman Sachs. Just pulled back to its 5 and holding its 5. JP Morgan, what is it doing here? Pulled back to the 21. So there is strength in the financial sector, as we see from the XLF, which was the exchange traded fund for this group. Yeah, it kind of looks like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. All right, let's move on to the utilities. Utilities were strong today. Talon is one name that just keeps romping higher, kind of like in this channel, right? Just making new highs, and higher lows. The definition of an uptrend here. So that looks fantastic. Just in that channel, looks good. GEV is getting a little wild, man. It's up a lot, it's down a lot. But all it did this week was pull back to its 21, find support, and bounce. So if you take a look at this on maybe a 10-minute chart, you can see that, the pullback to the moving average here, and now it's been bouncing ever since. So GEV, definitely one of the stronger stocks in that group. VST had a weird day today. It looked like it was going to break out to new highs, and you can see this little wedge pattern that we've been talking about for a long time. And this one's going to move when it wants to, not when we want it to, like all stocks. Unfortunately, they don't listen to us, but it's making this little wedge pattern here. I'd like to see it tighten up a little bit, but it looks ready to pop after this move from 111 to like 170. I think it was 168 something. It looked like it was going to break out and trade above that level this morning here, as you can see on the open right here, this big move higher. And I don't know, maybe about an hour into the session at 10:45. So hour 15 into the session, made that high 164.25 thing. Oh man, this thing's off to the races. Then sold off, then made a high above that 164 area, 164.86. And you're thinking, man, this thing really is going to take out that high. And then it just sold off into the close. But on light volume, if you hold this one, which I do, you're just looking at this declining volume here, and it's just a matter of time, I think. Yeah, this declining volume, just trading, just wedging in here. I think this thing's going to pop any day now. Anyway, that's my opinion, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. GTES, Gates Industrial, another one of these electrical power equipment stocks, made a new high today, then pulled back into the close, like a lot of things pulled back into the close. EE, Accelerate Energy, why not? Let's accelerate, up 3.5% today. That one looks good as well. VRT, these data center plays. All it did recently is it made a new high after that investor day, which was super impressive. Went, I don't know, 105 to 145, pulled back to the 21, squatted there for a couple days, and now it's starting to bounce. That 145.67 is definitely in play here, but you got to give it some time. But a nice bounce today, up nearly 3%. It's sold off into the close like everything else, right? It's running here, and then oops, we got to be cautious into the close because there might be a wild jobs data number or whatever. Anyway, I'm going to move on from the utilities, the financials, and our earnings reports, and go to our favorite stock, AppLovin, the software group. This one just keeps cranking. I have people saying, how can I buy a stock like AppLovin? Well, you got to own AppLovin. I mean, that's a story. This thing just keeps going higher. Do you think the institutions want to own it? I do. How do I know that? Jeez, look at this. Ridiculous. It's only up 12.5% this week. On top of these other gains from prior weeks, you can see these massive gains, since the breakout here on the week of September 13th. It's just been blowing higher, 77%. That week, you think it would pull back, but no, it keeps going higher, 14% 2 weeks ago, 1% last week, and like I said, 12.5% this week, man. Just a monster stock. So has no signs of slowing down. Maybe 400 will be resistance. Maybe it'll have a climax run. I don't know. I just take it one day at a time, and I try to be practical and logical and not get too excited one way or the other. But it's definitely a winning stock, definitely a stock that institutions want to own, much like Palantir. These two, I know I cover the same stocks every day because I like them and they're strong stocks and they're winners. And I want to focus on winners and not stocks below their 21. So Palantir just surfing the five beautifully. There's a lot of software names that are doing well. Duolingo, ooh, pretty green chart. Green is in money because it's delivering the goods for the shareholders. Crossed through 350 and just blew right through it here at 373 close today. Just surfing the five EMA. It looks really nice. Spotify and had a nice pullback this morning. I don't know if any of you caught that, but if you look at the open for no reason, I mean, yesterday it had a big day. They had a product announcement, had a big day, and so there was some profit taking at the open today. But man, if you were just paying attention to this one and saw it down, it was down like $20, right? The low was what, 480? I mean, stayed down there for just a hiccup and then started, buyers came in. I don't know if the machine saw that or buyers started just saying, hey, this is too much of a sell-off, and it's just closed right at its five there today, 0.6%. So a tick above the five. And all this is doing is surfing the five. But man, it's rare in a bull market like this, a leading stock uptrending like that pulls back $20 like that. So that was a nice opportunity if you were paying attention this morning. All right. Other names, strong in the software group. This is a computer software financial name, Bill, because they like to bill people. Just formed that little shelf pattern, broke out today. Very nice. Another one, oh, I got to mention Ford. Their CEO was selected for the new administration for the head of NASA. So it sold off yesterday. Gained back what 2% today, but the sell-off yesterday was pretty nasty. Just, the CEO is leaving. There's been rumors that this one's going to be bought out, and so I don't know. I think it has a little put underneath it as well. Anyway, Roblox making new highs, making noise and making new highs out of that 55.10 base. And we've seen these short little bases here where it makes a new high, pulls back to moving average. I think I've showed this, probably 1,000 times here. Same pattern. Makes a new high, pulls back to moving average and pops and breaks out above the old high. That's what I'm expecting Vistra to do here. And I'm going to hold it until it does. Or if it doesn't, I'll have to get rid of it. And then, of course, GoDaddy, one of my faves. Yeah, this is nobody talks about this stock. It was flat today, but I mean, yesterday it bounced off its five. So I was expecting a little give back today, but it didn't want to give back anything. Yeah, it popped 5% yesterday as it, made a new high above 200 on the 26th, then pulled back, to its five, and then popped Wednesday and today, added another new high. So GoDaddy blew through that 200. So hopefully it'll stay above there for me because I own it. All right, I'm going to switch gears here, a little change up, a little curveball, and go to the LNG and GLNG, the natural gas stocks, transportation. This one formed that little shelf that we've seen a lot lately as the moving averages catch up. It makes a little shelf pattern, right? It just rips up to a new high, forms a shelf. It tells you that institutions aren't selling it, right? And then they come in and buy it and pop it higher. GLNG, same thing, LNG, GLNG, Golar, LNG, made a new high today. Kind of the same thing. We're ripped up and then just went sideways, allowed the 5 EMA to catch up and then popped again. So there's a lot of oil stocks looking good. I don't own any of them right now, but it's same thing here. Ripped higher, went sideways, and then popped again today. This is Kodiak Gas. We had this thing on our ready list around I don't know 28 or 29 back here, and then just gets away from it. That's what happens in a bull market. All right. FTI, this is Technic FMC obviously had this consolidation pattern here, that 29.85 buy point. Now it's just trending with the 5. So there's a lot of oil and gas stocks that look good to me. Antero Resources. Now this is one that hasn't broken out and popped higher. It's still consolidating in a base, and that might appear on a ready list here in the next week or so. Looks pretty good here. Cup with handle pattern, pullbacks to its 21, shaking some pools out, and maybe ready to pop. We'll have to wait and see. You can see the volume drying up, so I like that one. That's why I showed it. All right, another change up here. We're going to go to the restaurant group. I talked about this yesterday, I believe. I put it on my ready list today, and it popped a little bit today. You know, there was a lot of caution in the market today, but above that 150 level, it's got this little box area. And I like it to trade above there. And it did today. You know, it looked like it was really going to move, but it pulled back into the close. Yeah, it was up 153.34 and then pulled back into the close. Let's see what a 5-minute chart looks like. Yeah, it was just ramping. And then, you know, just caution into the close. A lot of stocks have that profile today, caution into the close. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. I don't mean to get complacent or anything because, you know, all stocks can sell off and the market's, you know, not guaranteed to go up, but we're definitely in a strong bull market. And, you know, you got to book profits from time to time, buy yourself something nice for Christmas. This is Brinker International. I talk about this one a lot. You know, it's like Apple oven, right? It just keeps going higher, a little quieter. But this one pulled back for a couple of days. What do you get? 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So you think, oh man, this thing's going to crash down to the 21, and it popped 1.5% today. Brinker is just a monster stock. Cheesecake Factory pull back to the 5 today. 50.75 there is your entry point, I think. Yeah. If you're interested in cheesecake, man, I just put on weight thinking about it. Uh, Shake Shack, another, you know, same profile here with the SHAK. Got that 134.90 pullback, you know, undercut the 21 actually, but still has that buy point there. I'd say like 135. So, you know, it was up 3% today, made a new high, but if it pulled back to that area, you know, back to the 5, that would be an area of interest for me. What other ones? Oh, Chipotle. This is another one that I think looks pretty good. Now they had a 50-for-1 stock split? Yeah. 50-for-1. This is like $2,500 stock or whatever. So it added a lot of shares, outstanding shares. So it's a lot slower moving stock. And this is the weekly CMG, the weekly chart here. So you can see this cup-shaped pattern on Chipotle. Traded you know, down a little bit last week, and it's popped 6% this week. So it looks like it's getting ready to move higher, breaking out from this base. So if you don't want to be late on the Chipotle, anyway, that looks pretty good to me. The last group that I'm going to cover, the building construction group. You know, this thing, there's a lot of names in this group that I like that I could show, but I'm just going to hold it to like 3 or 4. And this is one that I like. Technoglass, you know, broke out of this base, just keeps ripping higher, pulled back to the 50 one time. The first time's a gift, certainly was this time, and now it's surfing the 5. So Technoglass looks pretty good. STRL, this is one that I want to put on the ready list. I might, and you could see why. You know, it hit that 200 level, and it's just acting as resistance, bumping its head, you know, kind of like a GoDaddy. You know, made that, first of all, ripped up, pulled back to its 5, and it just allowed the 5 to catch up. And now it's consolidating in this space. At some point, it's going to trade above that 201.27 and blast higher. Now I want to be involved when it does. Anyway, that looks really good to me. And then Quanta Services, another one that I like in the group, and all it did is, you know, rip from 293. This is probably before the election, right? Yeah, Halloween. Here's the election day. So 293, then it ripped up to 350. Not a bad move, and it just pulled back to its 21. I think that's an opportunity, but it's got to bounce. You got to wait for the bounce. So anyway, that's it for me, except for I have to brag once again because my thesis of the boomers, and I went to my mortgage agent, she's saying the same thing. People are taking their money out and they're spending and they're booking flights and they're traveling and they're going all over the world and they're dining and whining and spending money and staying at hotels and living their best life and having a ball. So that's what life is all about. And they're doing it by booking flights on United Airlines. This one made a new high today. I don't think I've ever owned an airline stock. I got to be honest. But, this one's surfing the five, made a new high today, 105. Just looks fantastic. Yeah, I don't think I ever have. It's just not, I just haven't done, they don't grab me. Maybe my dad, this might be my dad's inside my head for all those years telling me they're a losing proposition. Anyway, this is Delta Airlines. Has that wedge pattern back to the 21, right? And then pop today, 2.3%. These airline stocks are just super strong, making new highs. This is Alaska Airline, popped nearly 3% with 34% above the 50 average volume there. Very nice move. So those aren't the only ones that are doing well. So cruise lines popping. This is Carnival made a new high today. RCL is Royal Caribbean made a new high today. Norwegian Cruise Lines. These things are all strong. So yeah, that's my story. It's not just the boomers. I'm just kidding. I'm half kidding, folks. The economy is good and people are spending money. That's all. All right, and I did mention the booking names. Yeah, they're using used to be Priceline, but now it's Booking Holdings making a new high today, surfing the five, EXPE, same thing. These things are just travel zoo. This is like shooting fish in a barrel with this travel group. Airlines, hotels. What did I mention? Marriott. I think that's another one. Yeah, making a new high. Hyatt hotels. I mean, come on, folks. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Wyndham Hotels making new highs. So like I don't own any of them, but it seems like if you want to make money, you probably want to own some of those. But that's just, yeah, I don't own any of them, just full transparency. All right, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. And MCStockCharts.com. We never give up, except I have one more thing. Like Steve Jobs used to say, we have earnings tonight. There's some real nice earnings reactions here after hours. Rubrik report was fantastic. They beat by a lot. They raised by a lot. I think this thing's, well, it's up 15% after hours, which is a good move. So it's going to open at a new high tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised this thing pulled something like a credo and went up, more than 20% tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see how the volume is coming in. But look at this. Somebody new. Somebody always knows. This one was up nicely with volume today. So that's a nice mover after hours. Some of the retail names, Ulta Beauty up 12.5%. So if you're looking for derivative plays or pen action here, you might look at something like ELF. It might be up tomorrow on Ulta report. Also, Lululemon in the retail apparel space. This one cranking 11% after hours. They had a nice report. And if you're looking for a pin action play, maybe Deckers or On Holdings, I wouldn't go to Nike or even Crocs. We'll see. Crocs pulled back today. Yeah, pulled back to moving average. So we'll see how much weight Lululemon has tomorrow. That was a fantastic report. Path, I didn't hear anything about Path. They reported down 3%. Boo, boo that stock. All right, DocuSign, fantastic report. Looks like it's going to breach 100 tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see, up 16% after hours. I'll have all the data on these stocks tomorrow, all the reports, and we'll see which ones we're going to really crank tomorrow. Oh, GitLab up 6 something percent, up above 70. Man, this is a nice cup with handle pattern. So this looks like it might break out tomorrow. Pull back today with volume to its 5 here, and it looks like it's going to bounce tomorrow. But you got to watch the volume. There's no guarantees just because it's up 6%. This thing could reverse lower, down to its 50. So it pulled back to the 5 today with volume. Yeah, 250% above the average volume. So watching that one tomorrow. That one, Rubrik, Asan, Ulta, Lulu, DOCU. There's a lot of good stuff happening tonight. This is Asan. This is Dustin Moskowitz's company. I think he's bought every share available, but it's up nearly 20% after hours. And the last one is IoT Samsara. Saved the worst for last. Boo. This stock is down 10%. pulling back to $50 or the 50 SMA, probably find support there and bounce. I didn't think it was that bad of a report. I have to look at it closer though. And anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up, ever, ever, ever. And you better not either.